The number you have dialed has been changed. The new number is... Please note, the new number is...
Hi, I'm Dave, the Bias Photographic. I want to thank you for joining us on another episode of Matrimony Mashup. I'm here today with my good friend Jess Johnson.
Hello.
Trails Banquet Facility.
Yes, it's quite the mouthful, but...
It is a little bit of a mouthful. It's got some syllables.
Mm-hmm. Sure does.
Jess, I'm going to ask you first, for those who may not know as much about the trails as I do, because I know quite a bit about it, give us your elevator speech.
Okay. Well, the Trails Banquet Facility is a full-service establishment. We handle absolutely everything from top to bottom. Really, the only things that you do outsource are your cakes and DJs and things like that. Other than that, we handle everything for you. We have accommodations from 25 to 325, so whether the occasion is just a small intimate affair or very grandiose, we can definitely handle that for you. We have been around since 1955. The present owner has had it since 90, so there's definitely some longevity there. And it is a family business, so has a very personal, comfortable feel to it. So
to delve right in, that was great, by the way.
Thank you.
Wonderful intro.
Try.
I want to get right to some meat and potatoes.
Okay.
You were telling me earlier off camera that how many weddings have you planned now? 400? 450?
Almost 500.
Almost 500 weddings. That's a lot of weddings.
In 8 years.
For anybody. I don't care who you are.
Right.
That's a lot of weddings.
Yeah. I've been lucky to be a part of that many.
And a lot of the people watching have not done any.
Sure.
Zero. A lot of brides, first wedding, their wedding, of course, the one and only.
Right.
So what kind of things do you see day in, day out, week in, week out, that you feel like every bride should know about trying to nail down who's going to play such a large role in their wedding?
Well, yeah, obviously, your venue is one of the most important things, besides the church as well, because that's really the two main things when it comes to a wedding. What I always say is, even if I'm your first spot and you come and view the facility, I would love to book you on the spot, but at the same time, it is better to go and view the other facilities, to really see, what kind of, trips your trigger. Hopefully the Hopefully the trails is that for you, but this is your day and we want it to be the best day, no matter if you choose it to be with us or with somebody else. And you really need to look at all your options. If you come into the trails and we're lucky enough to consult with you, and we give you that information, because we want you to feel comfortable, and we want you to be able to have this great day. So I always try to tell brides not to make that rash decision. Walk into a venue and you're like, oh, it's perfect, it's gorgeous, I want it.
There is a lot of excitement.
Yes.
One of our other experts touched on that sometimes it's easy to get caught up in the enthusiasm and rush right in and book the first thing. So take your time.
Take your time.
Tip number 1.
Yes.
Take your time.
And really just make sure you go through everything. And, there are those, wedding planner books that you can buy or whatever. And they're a great tool. Google. There's tons of different ways to do it, but you really want to ask all these questions. So those are very important. There's different things you want to, check out and make sure that you have everything covered, because you don't want, something that you just assumed is going to happen, and then all of a sudden, 3 weeks before the wedding, you thought you can get in the venue at 9 a.m. Well, now it's 12 p.m. And everything has to change. You really want to make sure you go through the criteria of the whole day.
Is this something that you spend during your consultations with brides? Do you spend a decent amount of time? If somebody has no idea how to plan their event at all, are you a resource that can kind of walk them through not just the day, but the process, or do you see yourself in that much of a role?
Oh, definitely. I am the wedding planner for the trails, but I am more than happy to help when it comes to other aspects of it. When the initial consultation, it's usually 20 minutes, half hour. It's not real long, because obviously they should go to other venues and check it out. I might be, somewhere down the line, say the third or fourth, and I don't want to bombard them with so much information that they kind of forget everything. So we go over the key points. And then if they do book with us, I am available 6 days a week. I work pretty much Monday through Saturday. So
This is not a part-time gig.
This is not
Not just this part-time gig.
So I'm available, so if they have questions or anything along the way, they're more than welcome to call me, or email me, however, as many times as you want. One day I had a bride that literally emailed me 10 times in like 2 hours because she just thought of questions after question after question, and this was like from 8 o'clock until midnight, which I'm not in the office, but she just kept thinking of more, and then the next day I come in, I have all these emails. Which is great. I'd rather have them ask those questions than not, and then just
be an
assume.
issue when it's too late.
But when they book, we meet about 6 to 8 weeks ahead of time, and I mean, like I said, I have 8 years of experience, so I have this worksheet, and we go through every single detail from start unto finish. I mean, I help you plan the format, so from introduction to first dance. That is all planned out.
Okay.
So.
And there's a reoccurring theme, in terms of people are going to hear this over and over during the series. But so tip number 2, I'm going to label it as working with a professional and, ask plenty of questions. I love email personally because then you have documented, this is what we talked about and this is what we agreed on. So I really like that.
Yes, I definitely like email when it comes to just those little questions. Now, when it comes to actually trying to pin down everything, I like to be one-to-one. I like to sit down and talk to them. And when we're putting all those questions and all those plannings, all those plans together, I don't, I do have brides that kind of want to just do it all over email.
It is true. It's hard to read. You can't read inflection. You can't read tone and attitude in an email. So you get a real feel for where somebody's coming from on a personal. It's much more personal. To get.
Yeah, I mean, and this is, it's one day, but it takes months to plan, and that one day just goes. So
you get
fast.
one shot at it.
You get one shot
as a photographer, I can definitely say you get one shot at it.
Yeah, and getting back to your point, you definitely want to make sure you work with professionals, because the thing I hear over and over again is, I have a bride that had their cousin who is a DJ and never done a wedding before, And
there's always the uncle photographer, yes.
Right. And that's great that they want to do that for you, that's wonderful. But if they have not done it before, you are going to miss some key points. You're going to wish that you're like, oh, we didn't do this, or oh, that didn't get captured, or, his DJ equipment blew up or something.
Yeah. I've seen the equipment fail during the first dance of the music, and when it was not a professional, when it was a a family member and so on. So
I mean, what I always suggest, there are 4 things you focus on when it comes to.
Sounds good. 4 things. Okay.
4 things. What I always suggest, there's 4 things you focus on when it comes to a wedding reception. Obviously, the bride, it's your day. You have this picture in your head. Get your dress. Get what you. It's your day. You want to be that princess, and you should be that princess. This is your one day. Second, is after the ceremony is said and done, what people remember is your reception. People, they'll remember the beautiful church and things like that, but what people really remember is your reception. And the key points to your reception.
Because they want to have a good time.
Exactly.
And they're going to,
and they're celebrating.
They're going to judge you a little bit on whether they had a good time.
Right. And what people remember about your reception is the food. So you want to make sure you have a facility, that has great food, great service.
And consistent. So that it's going to be what you sample.
It might be a beautiful room, and everything's gorgeous and perfect, but if the food was horrible, people are going to remember that, And then entertainment. So getting back to the DJ or the band, a professional band, if your DJ, can't get the party going, wasn't, emceeing it correctly and letting people know when things were happening, like they didn't see the bouquet toss, or they didn't know the cake was getting cut, and they didn't see. You got to make sure you have.
There's nothing worse than the bride trying to MC her own wedding.
Exactly.
I've seen it too many times.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So bride, food, entertainment, and then photos. And that's why I'm here, because again, you spend all this time, all this effort, all this planning.
Didn't even pay her to say it.
No. You spend all this time, all this effort, and it's gone in a flash. This will be the fastest day of your life. The fastest day of your life.
Oh, yeah.
And you want to make sure you have somebody that captures that day, because that's all you have left. So you want to make sure, you have a great photographer. And I say that over and over. Now, that has nothing to do with me, has nothing to do with the trails or anything like that. But again, when it's all said and done, and I did my job, and the reception was great and wonderful, but then you get your pictures back, and
Well,
they're
there's another
horrible, that just
consistent theme.
reflects
I
on
mean,
the whole day.
all the professionals we've talked to have been consistent in that they care for more than just their role. They care enough that the entire event is a success and the bride stays a success and she's happy and has what she needs to fulfill that vision. So it's great. And again, I think because you're a professional, you're going to receive that most of the time. So, but it's great to hear you say it as well.
It's so important. It's so important. And another thing that kind of sets the trails apart is that we do have a resource page on our website that lists all the photographers, florists, DJs, videographers, you know, whoever that we would recommend to you.
Okay.
So that way you do kind of have the cream of a crop and you don't have to thumb through, you know, and those would be the ones I would suggest. And then Dave Mason is definitely on top of that list.
Well, I think we're out of time.
Okay.
Feel free to leave some comments for Jess below the video here. We can get back to you on specific questions that way. But thanks for being here with us today.
Betcha. I appreciate the invite. You
Enjoyed it. Jessica Johnson, the Trails Banquet Facility. We'll see you next time on Matrimony Mashup.
Congratulations.